Do now. Let's talk about some of the issues of the day with Russell Brown over at publicaddress.net, the Hard News blog, and the Media 7 show on TVNZ7. Good morning to you, Russell.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now let's first of all talk about the riots, and we can't really call them the London riots anymore, more like the UK riots.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like it's kicking off in other places. Ironically, in Manchester, which was pretty quiet last night, they've sent all the police from Manchester down to London, and now there are problems in Manchester, which maybe was predictable.
Yeah, indeed. Now, a lot of course, is being talked about, well, why is this happening? Are these just opportunists? Is it just a bunch of youths having fun, or are there deeper issues behind the reasons and causes of these riots?
Well, I think it clearly isn't, as David Cameron said, purely criminal. Because if you were being purely criminal, you'd be a bit smarter and would disappear into the night with your ill-gotten goods. There's a degree of maliciousness and destruction about this, which does, oddly enough, put a political dimension on it. These people do seem, kids, seem incredibly alienated. The phrase, I think, that has popped up in a few things, which I think really nails it, is no stake in society. And I know some of these areas because I lived around them a while ago now, but I do feel invested in it. Like a lot of New Zealanders, I lived in Brixton, I lived by the old Kent Road, and I know how hard some of those council estates are. And it does... These are young people who have been broadcast at constantly telling them what they need to own, and now they're going and getting it, and they're destroying their own communities in the process, but it's not entirely surprising. Yeah.
Something also seems very coordinated about these riots as well. The kids seem to be very connected.
Yeah. Apparently the big platform is Blackberry Broadcast, which is part of the Blackberry messaging platform, which we haven't really seen in New Zealand. The Blackberry's been like a corporate tool, but in places where ordinary texting wasn't so cheap initially, it seems that the free Blackberry messaging has really taken off, and that seems to be what they're using. It's one of our readers was pointing out that you can analyse a lot of this in terms of video game strategy. And there's a mix of complete chaos and a certain amount of direction and coordination, and that seems to be what particularly overnight. That's what happened. It's not Twitter. Put it that way.
No, it isn't. And
it's all the nice middle class people who are gentrifying their suburbs who are on Twitter, frankly.
Well, and interesting though, I just saw an interview with the Labour Party MP on BBC saying that BlackBerry need to disable this function between certain hours of the day. Now, there are going to be all these kinds of calls, aren't there, afterwards, to come down on these youths and to try to intervene before these things happen, particularly using technology.
Yeah, I think, there will be calls for, even Ken Livingstone was on BBC Newsnight saying we've got to do something about social media. It is worth pointing out that some very good things came out of that as well, including the riot clean-up thing, which was pretty much spontaneous, and there are actually people, there were people out there in the morning with, buckets and shovels cleaning up, which was pretty neat. I think the irony here is that possibly part of what has helped generate this alienation is the kind of social control mechanisms that have developed in Britain over the last 10 or 15 years, which seem to really have just emphasised the divide. It's the country of ASBOs and surveillance cameras.
Yeah.
And I struggle to see that more of the same is really going to work.
But that's going to be the response, isn't it? There's going to be there's going to be more curbing of rights for London citizens, UK citizens.
Yeah, and it'll be targeted too. It'll be targeted at young people, and young people have been the subject already in Britain over the last decade of so much fear and loathing that it's hard to imagine it could actually get any worse. They just... There was a BBC World Service interview that's been posted to Audio Boo, which was actually, I thought, pretty brave of the reporter, Liana Hosea, who talked to a couple of girls, and it's fascinating, in Clapham, and it's fascinating. It's not edifying at all. The perspective is very much, well, everyone's got a right, haven't they? Well, no, actually, technically you don't. And we're targeting the rich people, the people with businesses. And you're talking about people with small businesses feeding their families.
Yeah.
That's the tragedy of it.
Yeah.
And that does happen in riots. There is no riot that doesn't actually hurt the poor in an odd way. But yeah, the people saying. I thought possibly the silliest thing on Twitter yesterday was Julian Assange tweeting from the WikiLeaks Twitter account, demanding to know why the BBC, which had interviewed protesters in Syria, wasn't interviewing the protesters in London, as if they were the same thing, and they're not. Which is not to say there isn't a political dimension to this, because there absolutely is. Like I said, if it was purely criminal, they'd probably be a bit slicker about it.
Yeah.
But it's not the same thing as the Arab Spring, let's put it that way.
Yeah. And of course, they were very much worried about events coming up like the Olympic Games, like we are looking forward to, of course, the World Cup here, and everything looks like it's on track. You've just been down to the Wynyard Quarter.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of, while London's burning, Auckland is shining.
Yeah.
And I was actually quite conscious of that when I went down to Wynyard Quarter on Sunday. I thought, is this just another place for the relatively wealthy to hang out? And to some extent, yeah, but there was a real cross-section of Aucklanders down there at Wynyard Quarter, and it's almost unbelievable that after 10 or 20 years of agonising about our dysfunctional relationship with the waterfront in Auckland, that actually suddenly we have a waterfront precinct that works. It's not the greatest thing ever, but for the first weekend, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And you can ride your bike around there. I love that.
Yeah. Are we overhearing about these damned All Blacks jerseys?
Oh, my God, yes. If the jersey's too expensive, don't buy it. It's not that long ago that it was considered actually quite poor form to go and buy the latest All Blacks jersey and wear it, because that jersey is sacred. This is an imported phenomenon, and it suits Adidas to try and bring this in from Premier League football. The clothing sponsors have a bunch of people who every season can be relied upon to buy these. To buy each season's new jersey, and that's what Adidas is hoping will happen here. If you think the jersey's too expensive, just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that this has gone on for 3 or 4 days. Look, it's not that big a deal, frankly.
No. I tweeted last night, and I'd say to everyone, forgive me for the fact that I do have a deep prejudice against anyone who wears a rugby jersey who isn't actually playing the game on the field. But that was formed at Lincoln University many years ago. But anyway, I thought an interesting dimension to this, though, was the government not coming out and wanting to regulate rugby jerseys or anything like that, but almost leaning on Adidas, this government who is, the champions of the free market and capitalism, almost sort of leaning on them, saying, well, this isn't a good look for you, Adidas.
No, you're right, yeah. A government that won't intervene in lots of other situations leans on Adidas here. Again, don't you have more important things to do, frankly?
Yeah, indeed.
Really. If you want to buy one of these jerseys, and they're too expensive, don't buy one, frankly. That's all it comes to.
Russell Brown from Public Address and the Media 7 show on TVNZ7 looking like
really good. I hope you get your phone back next week, because I've been having to concentrate very hard to hear you.
Sorry about that. Thanks very much.
Right.
Cheers. That is Russell Brown via Skype this morning to his phone, because our phone system's still on the blink. I'm thinking about protesting.